Welcome to Local 4 Live. A lot to talk about in our next 2 hours. We're going to start with a live look over in Washington, where President Trump used his annual address to Congress to tout his first year back in office and what's ahead. We'll look at his speech and how Democrats are reacting. Then over in Lansing, Governor Whitmer is getting ready to make her final State of the State address. We're going to preview that with a Capitol reporter from Bridge, Michigan. And we're going for it this morning. We're in Pontiac, as you can see a live picture right there, stocking the shelves at the Michigan Animal Rescue League and all those cute little puppies.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli, jumping into your headlines on this Wednesday morning in Macomb County. Some communities are dealing with a boil water notice. We're told a DTE subcontractor hit a 36-inch water main owned by Gliwa. This is over at 24 Mile and Gratiot in Chesterfield Township. Gliwa is trying to find the part of the main that's leaking. There's now a boil water advisory for the village of New Haven and for Lenox Township water customers that live on Gratiot north of 30 Mile Road. In Chesterfield Township, there is no boil water advisory. A deadly crash also under investigation in Macomb County. You're looking at video from the scene about 5 o'clock this morning over in the westbound lanes of I-94 near 9 Mile. You can see there is a car there up the embankment to the freeway. All of the lanes are now reopened. We are working to learn more about what happened and who the victim is. A Pontiac mother accused of leaving her kids to live in filth will be in court today. Kelly Bryant's 15-year-old boy and 12 and 13-year-old girls were found living on their own in a townhome in February of 2025. Police say the home was filled with garbage and human waste and say the kids hadn't seen their mother in years. In December, Bryant pleaded no contest to accusations of stealing almost $30,000 worth of benefits meant for the kids. Taking a live look at the White House now, where President Trump is back at work following his State of the Union address last night. The president declared America is back, listing his administration's achievements in his first year. As Tracy Wilkins reports, all of this comes in the face of falling approval ratings and the president losing ground on key policies.
It was the longest State of the Union speech ever, beating the record previously set by President Trump. He clearly delivered the message that he hopes Republicans will spread as the midterms grow closer. But in their response, Democrats questioned and challenged the president's reality with what recent polls show Americans are feeling. As President Trump addressed members of Congress for the second year of his second term.
Our nation is back. Bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before.
Divisions between the two parties were evident, especially on issues like the state of the economy.
They caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem. You caused that problem.
The president boasted a stronger economy, one of the many issues more than half of Americans believe he's failing on, according to recent polling. Trump also made his case on his tariffs in front of the Supreme Court justices who recently ruled limiting his ability to levy them.
But the good news is that almost all countries and corporations want to keep the deal that they already made.
The president touted ending wars while promising he will not allow Iran to pursue a nuclear weapon.
I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon.
Several Democrats boycotted the speech, while some who were there at times shouted in protest, especially apparent when the president accused Democrats of supporting sanctuary cities and not his immigration policies.
They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
It was a point Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger addressed in the Democratic response.
Our president has sent poorly trained federal agents into our cities, where they have arrested and detained American citizens and people who aspire to be Americans, and they have done it without a warrant.
Spanberger also countered questioning if Americans are the ones who are benefiting most from the president's policies.
The scale of the corruption is unprecedented.
There was a moment when both parties agreed and Democrats who were in the chamber applauded. And that was when the president called for the passage of a bill to end insider stock trading by members of Congress. In Washington, I'm Tracy Wilkins, NBC News.
Now here in Michigan tonight, it's Governor Whitmer's turn to speak to Michiganders. She'll be delivering her final State of the State speech. Lawmakers will pack the Capitol as she lays out her last agenda as governor. Plenty of topics will be on the table for what she wants to achieve this year, including creating jobs, lowering costs for Michiganders, and investing in education. Joining me to break down what we can expect tonight is Jordan Hermany. She's a Capitol reporter for Bridge, Michigan. Jordan, thank you so much for joining us. Give us some high-level insight here. What do you think she'll be talking about in terms of what she wants to accomplish?
Yeah, so with this being her eighth and final State of the State address, first and foremost, what we can expect is somewhat of a victory lap. This being the final address that Governor Whitmer will give to a House and Senate that will be located in the House chambers tonight at 7. But of course, we still have a full legislative year to go. So there will be 3 policies that we know for a fact that Whitmer will be mentioning as part of her address. Those will touch on literacy, housing, and healthcare. All of which the governor has highlighted in her most recently unveiled $88 billion state budget as major priorities for the state for the remainder of this year.
Right. So when you look at those 3 topics, literacy, healthcare, and of course housing, you look at the budget, you try to figure out what specifically can be accomplished, especially when you've got more Republican control. Do you think that there will be some movement in the next year, or do you think this is essentially a lame duck session now?
No, honestly, I think that where Whitmer is keying in, particularly on the topic of literacy and housing, we are seeing bipartisan support in both the House and Senate for moving these kinds of items. So I'll give an example, on literacy, she's pitching $625 million worth of spending through her budget for programs including literacy coaches, teacher training, high impact tutoring. These are all things that we're not just hearing people in the legislature say, but, gubernatorial candidates who are running to replace her later this year. Again, housing, another hot issue. We heard the president last night talk about affordability or, the affordability issues that we are seeing on the ground level in Michigan. And housing, chief among them, is a big place where Republicans and Democrats are coming together to say we have to figure out a way to make it more efficient and less expensive to build homes in Michigan for middle to lower income families in order to, start their lives.
Right. One of the things that she ran on when she was first trying to get into the governor's seat was fixing the damn roads. Do you anticipate any of that will be a topic of discussion, whether she claims it as a victory or says there's still more work to be done?
I would be surprised if this was not mentioned as part of her final address. But, we look to last year, we had a $2 billion road repair plan that the House and the governor had been pushing for. The Senate as well had come on at the end there. And basically, we did see one of the biggest investments that we have seen in roads in a while. It would shock me if there was not some level of a victory lap there. We personally tallied the State of the State promises she made as part of her 2025 address. And she either made fully or partially good on 10 of the 14 of those, among of which was fixing, as she calls it, the damn roads.
I like your attribution there, just in case. In terms of the rest of a victory lap, what do you think she'll be touting as things that she accomplished while in office?
That remains to be seen. But, like I said, taking laps on things that she had mentioned last year, it wouldn't surprise me if, for instance, one of the big things that she had mentioned was like banning cell phones in schools. Just recently, actually earlier this month, the governor did sign into law a smartphone ban that removes from, class periods. Kids aren't allowed to have those phones on them. They can keep them in their locker or keep what some are referring to as a dumb phone that's only capable of sending texts and not necessarily accessing the internet. So I would also imagine that she would tout on, as we're talking about literacy, last year we were able to see through the state budget process raising the per pupil spending to over $10,000 per student, or expanding GSRP programs, that's the Great Start Readiness programs, providing free breakfast and lunch for Michigan students. I would be surprised if those weren't mentioned at some point in her address as well.
Yeah. It seems like education has certainly become maybe the #1 talking point for the governor over the past year or so. Do you think that there are any specifics in this address or in the budget that she put forward that are actually attainable in the next 6 to 8 months?
Again, I go back to the concept of literacy supports. While the $625 million proposal that she is pitching, which again covers a number of things, including literacy coaches, teacher training, etc., I would be surprised if we did not see some level of bipartisan movement. But this is also a give and take. So I am aware of the fact that she's also pitching about $800 million worth of quote unquote sin taxes on things like vaping and gambling, which the Michigan House Speaker has already said he will not entertain. He believes that we can consolidate our budget without raising taxes. But you know, the budget game is a you win some, you lose some. So if the House is firm on the fact of not raising taxes, will her literacy proposals be implemented as asked for in the state budget? That remains to be seen. But you know, it's very early in the year, and the horse trading has yet to begin.
You know, I highly doubt that anybody would get up there and talk about their misses or things they wanted to achieve but didn't get there. Do you think, though, that there is a list that she keeps personally that says, I wish we could have got to this in my terms in office?
You know, I think one of them being as part of that syntax, Governor Whitmer for years has really led the charge on wanting to firmly crack down on vaping products in Michigan as part of an anti-smoking campaign. She had, if you remember back in 20, I believe it was 19, tried to institute emergency rules to ban certain flavored vapes. That did not end up going in her favor. In the last budget proposal, she also suggested banning flavored vape products or vaping products that were not FDA approved. That was also DOA. Current House Speaker Matt Hall said that very quickly following her State of the State address that he would not entertain that. That came back again in this current $88 billion executive budget proposal, which I don't necessarily see that moving forward, despite it being a clear want for the governor.
Yeah. Okay, Jordan Hermany, the Capitol reporter of Bridge, Michigan, thank you much for your insight and everything you can do. And we're going to talk to you again tomorrow morning to get your thoughts after we actually hear the State of the State address.
Thanks for having me. See you soon.
All right, you can watch the governor's final State of the State speech right here on Local 4, on Local 4 Plus, and to click on Detroit.com starting at 7 o'clock tonight. Well, today we are stocking the shelves. A live look in Pontiac right now as you see all of the adorable little ones who need your help, and maybe a couple of extra beds to sleep in too after these guys tear this one up. We're going to take you to Pontiac as we stock the shelter. Priya Man will be holding something very cute to tell you how you can help. Welcome back, everybody. It is time to go for it. We are live at the Michigan Animal Rescue Center all morning long in Pontiac. We started collecting pet supplies about 30 minutes ago, actually longer than that. It's been an hour, 2.5 hours almost now. Eric Erickson is taking a look at how these donations are actually helping.
They're a different breed of shelter, and they need our help.
She's a very sweet girl.
It's time to stock the shelves at Michigan Animal Rescue League in Pontiac.
Look at you, handsome boy.
What do they need? New pet supplies, whatever you can give, like blankets, toys, and of course, dog and cat food.
With kitten season coming up, we get a lot of young kittens who really depend on that.
The shelter helping roughly 1,500 animals per year, giving them medical treatment, exercise, and socialization. Your donations going to animals like Cheeto, Lil Bean, and Chip, enjoying the cage-free cat room.
She's incredibly sweet.
Along with Daphne and Irving. And these husky mix pups and their mother, rescued from a garbage can in Detroit.
We immediately took action, got them in our care. The mom was severely underweight and stuff. They were only 3 weeks old.
We're asking for your donations, food, pet supplies.
All right, Erica, thank you much. We are again at the Michigan Animal Rescue League in Pontiac all day. We started at 6 o'clock in the morning. We're going until 6 o'clock tonight over on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard North. You can also scan that QR code on your screen for a list of supplies to make a donation. Well, the snow has moved out of the way and the temps are going to go up. Ashley is tracking the warmer weather and possibly some more snow chances next week. Plus, if you're a freelancer, a remote worker, or a startup worker, listen up. There's a new space. There's a hint. We'll show you coming up. Welcome back, everybody. A live look now at Michigan Central Station, where a new work spot is moving in. This one's called the Michigan Central Mez. It's a 17,000 square foot co-working space set to open on the second floor. This is going to happen in April. Members will have 24/7 access to desks, private meeting rooms, quiet zones, a kitchen, plus showers and a fitness center. The Mez joins tenants like Lincoln headquarters and a future boutique hotel at the top of Michigan Central. The acting CEO says this space will give freelancers, startups, and campus members a place to work, collaborate, and build partnerships right in the heart of the district. Ashley Barrissey looked at that like, wait a minute.
Can we move our
I want to
studio?
just move over there.
Yeah.
Do they have any space left at this point? I think it's kind of full.
I don't know. All I've been thinking, though, is now that they have event space there with the hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, how amazing a wedding would be inside of there.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
You can have everything. Like, you don't have to leave. You can just stay right there.
Oh, and such a historic spot.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm sure it's
awesome.
pretty affordable.
Oh,
pretty cheap,
oh,
right?
yeah, definitely. Yeah. But it wouldn't matter the time of year that you're having your wedding if you just like stay inside there.
That's
And
true.
yeah, and then no pressure on the meteorologist for the forecast for that big day.
Not at all, right.
And so speaking of that forecast, let's go ahead and talk about snow cover because we did get that fresh coating overnight. And so now we're
You said it would happen, and it did.
Yeah, and luckily it wasn't a ton, and the temperatures stayed, close to the freezing mark. That salt was really effective this morning. But your driveway, the roads in your neighborhood, those could be a little slick still this morning, and you can see that light coating across much of southeast Michigan. But as you work your way into Washtenaw County, up into Oakland County, Livingston County, maybe another inch or so of snow depth. That's not going to stick around for long because we will have warmer conditions by Friday. But for today, we will hover just maybe above the freezing mark at best, and then we do slide throughout the afternoon and add a couple more snowflakes to the mix. So you might get a quick little burst of some snow with these bands that'll be produced throughout the rest of the day, well, at least into the first part of the afternoon, I should say. And that's up in the Thumb region and maybe as far south as Macomb, Oakland counties. And then we'll push that out of here. But overall, the clouds will stick around. Temperature change has been about 15 to 25 degrees warmer across the area this morning. So that's noticeable, especially if you take your dog out early for a walk or you're a jogger and trying to get outside. You contend with a little bit of snow, but it's not as frigid as yesterday. So we're right around 30 as far as temperatures at this hour. And I've been showing this map this morning. We're starting to see Jacksonville tick upward, but at one point this morning as I checked in, it was 34 degrees there. And, we were hovering around the freezing mark, so it wasn't all that much warmer in portions of Florida for those snowbirds. And so we do have that cooler air kind of sinking into that part of the region for today, and we'll still stay below average in portions of Florida tomorrow before we start to see that colder air retreat. Today, 35 degrees for the high that we hit late morning, and then you see that we do get into the 20s by 7 o'clock this evening, and the winds will be picking up. So much like yesterday, it's going to be another brisk day. You pair that with a 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gust, and you feel the difference. Our feels like temperatures at best probably in the 20s throughout the rest of the morning, and then even tapering off into the low teens this afternoon and some single digits late this evening. So if you're heading out to the Pistons game, just showing you that we will be in the 20s with relatively drier conditions this evening if you're going to be in downtown Detroit. But even before that 7:30 tip-off, and of course afterwards, we'll have some single-digit chills out there. Temperatures set up, so it's along the eastern seaboard today that we're trending below average with a nice ridge of warmth off to the west. And then temperatures set up come tomorrow. That warmer air starts to trickle down in portions of the Gulf states. We still stay below average across the Great Lakes tomorrow before a big rebound in temperatures Friday. But southern Florida still struggling to get to what would be near average. Clouds and radar, because we're not done with snow quite yet. The long-range models hinting at getting a passing snow shower late Saturday evening. That pushes out of here. And then new model data keeping this just south of the state line for late Sunday into Monday. But I mean, that moves 50 to 100 miles, which isn't that much in the grand scheme of a system like that. Now we're talking about that creeping into portions of southeastern Michigan. So stay with your forewarned weather team. We're going to continue to update that day by day as we're still, about 5 days out from that system. But 51 with sunshine on Friday, serving that up just for Nick Monticelli.
Yeah, you are.
To kickstart the weekend.
I was starting to think that the snowbirds probably are now in like Texas or California and just said, forget it. We're going somewhere else.
I know. A loved one of mine down in Florida this morning was like, I have to get the ice scraper out this morning. No kidding, because it was so cold this morning. And I was like, well, enjoy that because we're suffering up here. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Ash. We are all looking forward to the weekend, especially with 51 on Friday. But if you are a lover of space, this weekend is your chance to see a once-in-a-10-year event. Ashley is going to help us understand this as we take a look at Earth, I should say, from the International Space Station. This weekend, 6 of the planets will all be lining up. In just a few minutes, a preview of the Parade of Planets. Good morning, everybody. I'm Nick Monticelli with a Local 4 update. Governor Whitmer preparing to deliver her final State of the State address tonight in Lansing. She's expected to lay out her plans for the state in her final year in office with topics like job creation, lowering costs for Michiganders, and investments in education and literacy. You can watch the entire speech tonight at 7 o'clock on Local 4, on Local 4 Plus, and on clickondetroit.com. Also, another 90 minutes of Local 4 Live coming your way over on the digital side. Next, a local mom fighting for her life just days after giving birth to her brand new baby girl. Her story of survival and her fight to make sure new moms know the potential risks. And our Go For It event is collecting pet supplies. It's underway. How you can lend a helping hand to all those puppies and kittens out in Pontiac. And we're going to see a parade of planets in the sky this weekend. We're taking a look at when 6 planets will line up and how you can see that. Also, Ashley has your warm-up weekend forecast.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Welcome back to Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. We're going to start this half hour with a trip to outer space. We're about to see a parade of planets in the night sky. 6 planets will be aligning this weekend. And to really understand all of this, we're going to go to the expert, the scientist, because I am not in any way, shape, or form a scientist or have a degree even closely related to this.
Really? Well, let's make it known, though, that my expertise is like weather here on Earth and not necessarily outer space, but I dabble in it. I dabble in it from time to time. Wah, wah, wah. But we know a thing or two about this. We've talked about parades of planets before, and there are a lot of folks that get very interested in the night sky. And so as far as this planetary alignment, you're going to see, the parade of planets here, and what's going to happen is this is going to start this weekend where they become in view. And really the time frame frame is going to be about 30 minutes to about an hour after sunset. So some viewing tips for you is to look south, that Jupiter is going to be really bright and near the moon. And then you're wanting to look near the horizon for the rest of these planets. But it is worth noting that a telescope will be needed for Neptune and Uranus. So not all of this is going to be visible with the naked eye. But a couple things to take into account, and this is where it goes hand in hand with my expertise as far as weather here on Earth, is that we're going to have quite a bit of cloud cover come Saturday, especially Saturday evening as we have a chance for some snow. Then we're also pairing with it the illumination of the moon. And so you're going to be in that waxing gibbous moon phase, which means it's between quarter moon and full moon. And so it's going to have about 90% illumination. So just the brightness of the moon can kind of detour if you were to have a clear sky, seeing some of those planets, because essentially what planets look like at night are stars, at least with your naked eye. It looks like a bright star. So if you have something else illuminating the sky, that could make it a little more difficult. But I mean, we're in Michigan, and it's the time of year where we have that winter gray, and so we do have a good chance of seeing a lot of cloud cover. But you could probably see on the internet some of these great views that are like right below me from space, and you might be able to take some of that in on social media and online as well. But there's your planetary alignment as far as all the planets that will be parading in the night sky.
Very cool. And I'm assuming it's a good idea to go somewhere where there's less light pollution, right?
Right. So if we were to have clear skies, you would want to find a place kind of like when we were taking in the northern lights. You want to go where there are areas of less light pollution. So sometimes like metro parks and things like that are great as long as you're able to go in after sunset and take in some of those views of the night sky. I'm just not overly optimistic about how this is going to pan out with our sky conditions this weekend.
Okay, well, thanks for that.
I just don't want you to be like, you know what, I'm going to make plans to go see this, and then like, Ashley, it was cloudy and snowy, and what were you talking about? Like, I'm just trying to be very honest, but you might get a break or two in the clouds, and then you get that little short window, but it's after sunset. About 30 minutes to an hour after sunset is that sweet spot to take that in.
So jump on a flight to Texas, that's what you're saying?
Sure.
It'll be warmer and maybe a clearer sky.
Just move there. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, thanks, Ash. All right, testimony in the Dale Warner trial picking back up this morning in court yesterday. The testimony focused on a tank moved days before D. Warner went missing. An employee telling jurors he moved the tank on April 27, 2021 at Dale's request. The defense pointed out the man suffered a head injury which affects his memory. A family member testified saying he saw unusual equipment tracks behind the home and a rusty tank in the park looked out of place. Testimony picks back up at 10:30 this morning. Inmates inside Michigan's only women's prison say they are being treated more like animals than humans. Prisoners and former employees at Huron Valley are sounding the alarm about mold, drugs, and lack of access to health care. Lauren Kostick has more after the House Oversight Committee in Lansing heard testimony about what's happening behind bars.
Well, we also heard the story of Crystal Clark. She's been dealing with severe health issues after chronic mold exposure. You could see the left side of her face here kind of drooping. Also mold growing inside her ear. And this is just one of several stories we are hearing from inmates inside this prison.
We treat animals better than what we have these individuals.
Members of Michigan's House Oversight Committee upset after hearing testimony about the conditions inside the Women's Huron Valley Correctional Facility. Everything from mold and abuse to illegal drugs and lack of health care.
There are just under 1,800 women in Women's Huron Valley, and these systemic failures impact all of them.
On Monday, we told you about Jennifer Wallace. She died from sepsis, and her family believes it's because she didn't receive the care she needed.
I believe her death was caused by them. Yes, I do.
Then there's Crystal Clark. Advocates say exposure to black mold has left her face drooping on one side and growth inside her ears. Records show she first reported mold in 2016.
I am just sickened at what they have done, to her.
Paula Kensu has been advocating for Crystal and her family, frustrated by the lack of help.
Many people that we've tried to reach out to, and we've just been largely ignored. And it's very painful to watch somebody in her condition suffer.
I'm a whistleblower. I was fired for coming forward.
Andy Allen called out the illegal drugs coming into the facility, now hoping this hearing shines a bigger light on the widespread issues.
People say that Michigan doesn't have a death sentence. It does. It is Women's Huron Valley.
And we know there are still so many questions that need to be answered. It's why the committee members are requesting the warden and the director of this department to testify. We have also reached out and are still waiting to hear back. Reporting, Lauren Kostick, Local 4.
Lauren, thank you. Parents in Bloomfield Hills say they are scrambling after the school board voted to shut down its infant and toddler programs. The classrooms serve children as young as 6 weeks old and have long wait lists. Pamela Osborne has been looking into this for us and how it's creating an immediate childcare issue for a lot of families.
I talked to many parents and teachers who say they were completely blindsided by the board's decision and that they had less than 24 hours notice before they were even realized this was something that was even under consideration.
We are devastated. It was incredibly heartbreaking yesterday at the meeting. People were shouting, many people were crying, myself included.
Jillian O'Neill is one of many parents who tried to get the Bloomfield Hills School Board to keep its infant and toddler program going.
And as we work toward balancing a budget.
O'Neill, a PTA mom of 3, had hoped to put her youngest in the Bloomin' program too. For families, losing the educational enrichment that program offered is a major loss, and the timing couldn't be worse.
Programs closing in June, leaving families 3 months to find alternative care when many of us were on wait lists for 1 to 2 years just to get a spot in the first place.
Parents we spoke to say it was about cutting costs. Their message, eliminating the program, cuts so much more.
It's not just childcare, like they're providing great education.
At Monday night's meeting, Allison Smith shared the impact the program has had on her family. She credits her son's teachers for recognizing he was in need of additional support.
The teachers were in constant communication with me about his development and how he was faring compared to his peers and what we could do at home to help. And it's made such a difference.
Their early intervention, referrals, and continued support is a big reason why Smith says he is thriving today.
I understand that the infant and toddler room is operating at a loss, but education in it itself is not a revenue-generating venture.
The information presented at the board meeting showed the program was operating at a loss of more than $300,000. When it came time to vote,
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All those opposed?
no.
No.
The families I spoke to say they would have gladly paid more to see this program continue. They're just disappointed that the school district didn't allow them the opportunity to contribute or have a conversation about this before they put this up for a vote. I did reach out to the superintendent, the school board, and the communications team. I was told that no one was available for an on-camera interview, but they did provide us with a statement that reads in part, this decision was made after extensive internal discussion and a thorough review of the program's long-term sustainability and the broader financial realities facing the district. I did have more specific questions about the timing of these discussions that took place prior to this vote, what happens to the teachers who are part of this program, and the wait lists that people are on right now. I did not get answers to those specific questions, but I did speak with one teacher who says she was told her employment with the district is terminated and ends when this program does. In Bloomfield Hills, I'm Pamela Osborne, Local 4.
All right, Pamela, thank you much. We're going to take a short break here on Local 4 Live. When we come back, we're going to go live to Pontiac inside that shelter where you can see how your donations can help all those adorable bunnies, cats, puppies, and more. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. Everybody, a live look in the Mackinac City area, producer Mary's favorite spot, maybe on Earth. I would say in Michigan, but I'm starting to think actually that she just loves this more than anything.
Mackinac.
Anywhere. Mackinac.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so looking at the forecast, you use the term seasonal, seasonable, a lot. I think that's kind of right for now, right? It's just, we are where we are. It is what it is.
Yeah, when you're in the 30s, low 40s, like that's where we should be for late February going into March.
So I shouldn't be complaining is what I'm saying.
Right, and we're still going to have a few more snows, but the hard part is you get teased with these like 1 or 2 days where we get into the 50s and you're like, oh man, especially when you get the sunshine with it. You're like, oh, I
think that's the biggest thing too, is that when the sun comes out, it feels like it's 70 degrees out.
It really does. I know. There have been times over the last couple of weeks where I see the sun peeking out and I'm like, there's no way that it's like only 30 something degrees, and I like look at my watch and the temperature, I'm like, it is, but it makes all the difference in the world. But you're going to love
But there's no
Friday.
sunshine coming, is there?
No, Friday. Sunshine and 50s.
50s.
You mark that day on your calendar. You better have something planned outside. Enjoy it. Celebrate.
Call in sick. I shouldn't have said that on the air.
Right. Yeah, and Ashley will be with you, and they'll figure something out. Exact Track 4D. So we do have some, I would say, active weather off along the northeast once again. This is not part of that bomb cyclone that brought the blizzard conditions to the northeast. This is really part of the frontal system that we saw roll through here, that clipper, and now bringing some light snow to the northeast. So just kind of adding on top of what already fell earlier this week, which we were talking, a couple feet of snow in that region. So we do have some remnant snow showers in northern lower Michigan. But for us here, it's pretty much a quiet start to the day. You might get a little flake or two up into our northern communities today, but overall, we've actually started with some sunshine. You can see right below me, the Windsor sky cam looking at downtown Detroit is actually a really nice picture at this hour. But snow cover where you have just that fresh little coating on the east side. And then for portions of Washtenaw County, if you kind of drew a line from like Ann Arbor all the way up towards Port Huron and to the northwest, so that does clip Oakland County, Waterford, that's where you might have about 1 to 2 inch snow depth in some spots on the grassy area. All this is going to melt with those 50s and sunshine come Friday, but we're still holding on to just slightly below average conditions. But as Nick mentioned, I call it seasonal. You're give or taking a few degrees on each side, and that's what we have as far as your Wednesday and Thursday go. So we do have a couple little snow bands on our future forecast here that you see to the north. That pushes eastward, so it doesn't really sink down a whole lot. And then we will stay rather dry both today and tomorrow. The temperature change, it's not as brutal out there. I mean, we had some sub-zero lows and single digits yesterday with the wind chills. Right now, we're 15 to about 20 degrees warmer across town. So that puts us on either side of 30 to start the day. And so even when you factor in a wind chill, it's going to feel like we're in the low 20s right now. Temperatures, though, as we look across the board, you can see that colder air really sinking down into the plains. And we've even had some of that cooler air down into Florida, where temperatures have not exceeded the 30s this morning in Jacksonville. So we're not all that off from portions of Florida right now. And they'll trend below average one more day before they start to see that colder air retreat. So for us, about 35 for the high, but we hit that late morning. So don't expect that around 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We will be a bit cooler as the day rolls on. Mostly cloudy skies with winds picking up. That means those 30s and 20s are going to feel colder. This is what it's going to feel like as you step outside. Low 20s and low teens as we go throughout the rest of the day. So that's what I want you to plan for as you're walking around, especially if you're walking around Detroit, you're heading to the Pistons game, outside of LCA, those 20s that, whether it's your watch or your car dash, whatever it's telling you, it's going to feel colder because of the brisk conditions. But 7:30 tip off at LCA. Don't need an umbrella though. I mean, we'll be dry throughout the evening. Temperature setup shows eastern seaboard below average today, but nice high pressure warmth off to the west, and that starts to trickle down into the Gulf tomorrow. We stay slightly below average, but then all that cold air retreats by Friday. And then after Friday, we could get skirted with a few snowflakes come Saturday evening because temperatures will be falling once again. Bigger system to keep an eye on Sunday night into Monday. Right now, that's staying closer to the Ohio Valley, but I can't rule out that that won't trickle farther north. And so I'm keeping a chance for a mixer snow in the forecast Monday, Tuesday with that system. But there's Friday. I mean, like I said, circle it, star it on the calendar, whatever you need to do. Sunshine, low 50s, because Saturday, you might look at that 45 and think, a few flakes. Well, as you get past sunset, you see we're falling in the 20s for that overnight low. So once we get past that freezing mark, you could see a few snow showers.
Okay, is it wrong of me that I see that cold air sitting on Florida and there's like a smirk on my face?
I don't know if that's wrong of you, but I'm with you. So that's why I feel, yeah. Because I'm like, all of our friends and loved ones that are snowbirds and go down there, and you're like, well, with it.
Aha!
Yeah, you get to deal with it too.
Thanks, Ash. At least I'm not alone in this endeavor. Yeah. All right, it is time to go for it this morning. We are stocking that shelter. We're in Pontiac at the Michigan Animal Rescue League over on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We're looking for you to donate any unopened bags of food for dogs and cats. That's going to help out the Michigan Humane. Again, Priya Mann live this morning in Pontiac. She's been holding all these cute little adorable little puppies. I'm just wondering how many of them are going to find their way into her living room later.
Oh, Nick, it is so hard. I mean, they are just the cutest. Look at this little girl. I mean, I'm just having a blast. This is the best assignment. I'm joined by Kristen, who's a dog wellness coordinator, and we are stocking the shelter today. We've got some siblings here.
Yes.
We've got their litter here. Nick, take a look at this. They're all asleep, just on top of each other. So cute. This is what it's all about.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, they're about 8 weeks old. They came to us over the weekend from another shelter from an owner that couldn't care for them. So we took in a lot of animals that day, so we were able to make room for them, and they've been doing really good here.
What are you looking for today?
Donation-wise? Yeah, we're looking for toys, food, litter, anything anyone can bring in for our animals. The donations are so important. We use every donated item we use directly for our animals, and it helps support the work that we're doing here to save lives every day.
And there's actually a QR code that's on your screen. Monetary donations are coming in as well. More than 1,600 so far.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, we cannot thank the community enough for doing this for us.
In our last segment, we had monkey bars.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Who has since been adopted.
Yes. Oh my gosh, she is the funniest, sweetest dog on your show too. She was so cute on the couch and everything.
And those monetary donations just make sure that she's got all of the vaccinations, all the checkups that she needs, right?
Yes, Marl is so different from other shelters. Like, we challenge like what the stereotype of what a shelter is, and providing like high quality care. Any animal that comes through our door, we provide them with any medical care they need, sometimes life-saving procedures as well. So yeah, these donations are so amazing for us, and we can't thank the community enough.
So we've been seeing Amazon donations coming in. The warehouse is full. We've got dozens of donations. What's it like for you seeing these drivers pulling up, literally opening their trunks full of stuff?
It's so amazing. Like we didn't even imagine how much support we would get. So it's just so awesome to see the community come out to support the work that we do.
And again, we are looking for food, brand new toys. We're looking for
litter,
litter as well. And you know, when it comes to making a difference, you know, as a dog wellness coordinator, you're seeing this up close and personal every day.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we see some hard things for sure. Like, we see animals in hard situations coming from a place of fear where they don't know like what's going to happen next. And it's really amazing to see the transformation here when we give them like the first positive experiences they've ever had sometimes. So it's really awesome.
And you know, when it comes to the litter, actually, McGee, if you want to give me that sheet, guys, you got to take a look. Nick, look at this litter, because I've got a list of names here. So we're going with egg puppies. That's the theme. So we've got Sunnyside.
This is Sunnyside.
Souffle. Oh my God, frittata.
Yes.
We've got scrambled, Benedict, omelet,
and Lil Ro is the tiniest one.
I love that. The little, where is Lil Ro?
Lil Ro is this brindle small one, yeah.
And when you see them all like lying there on top of each other, it's just, it warms your heart.
I know, they love each other. They always sleep in a big pile together.
And she's making a lot of noise too. The first thing I noticed were her beautiful eyes.
I know, she has the two different colored eyes. Yeah. Their mother was an Australian Shepherd. She was really pretty and fluffy, so.
Oh, I love that. Well, again, we are here at the Michigan Animal Rescue League here in Pontiac, 340 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard North here in Pontiac. We're here through 6 p.m. today. We really need your donations, because that's what Go For It is all about. What does it mean to you to partner with Local 4 for an event like this?
It's just amazing for us, for people to see the work that we do and give the community a chance to kind of see what we're all about. So.
That's awesome. So hopefully we can see you guys out here. But if you can't make it out to Pontiac today, again, that QR code is on your screen already. More than $1,600 in donations. And all of that is going to make sure cutie patooties like this, animals who are in need, get all of the food, love, toys that they need, the supplies they need to keep them healthy and safe. I mean, Nick, just look at her, just falling asleep right there, either with their brothers and sisters or here in my arms. Are you sure, Nick, can't get you one of these? I can bring one back for you.
First of all, Priya, you have been telling me for years that Zen needs a friend, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think
maybe Omelet's the friend.
Is she whining in your
Look at
arms?
That.
She's so comfy.
No. She's whining. She's whining. Maybe she wants
to see her.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, you really want your sister?
Yeah.
I just want to point out,
Nick,
Priya,
maybe I'll see you out there.
Priya, did you rip these little babies out of their little nap with their brothers and sisters?
First of all, look at her. Look at her. Just look at this face. Let me just bring it up close, okay? Yeah, here. Let me come right up to you. Look at this. Look at this little face. Yeah. It's just asleep in my arms, Nick.
You know what, Priya? I think she might be cuter than you.
Oh, 100%. Are you kidding? There is no question at all. No question at all. And then her sister over here, she can't wait to just go and explore. I mean, look at the size of the paws here.
Oh, she's
This is
ready.
why we need those supplies.
Oh, yeah. Some growing
She's
baby.
ready. Did she have her morning coffee? That's what happened.
They're asking if she had some morning coffee or some Red Bull because she has so much energy.
No, but it definitely seems like it. Yeah, she's the spunky leader of the group.
Right.
All right, Priya, thank you so much. Great job out there. And we're going to continue to be live in Pontiac until 6 o'clock to help out that shelter. We'll be right back. In the last days of American Heart Month, we are highlighting a type of heart attack disproportionately targeting women. It's so rare, some doctors are baffled by the symptoms. It's known as SCAD, spontaneous coronary artery dissection. Priya Mann talked to a Canton mom who survived and hopes to help other women.
Nidhi had just given birth to baby Nora 8 days earlier, and she was here on this couch when she had her heart attack. This time she was rushed back to the hospital, worried she wouldn't come home.
I don't think having a heart attack at the age of 41 was really on our bingo card.
Nidhi Puri is a business owner and has 4 kids under the age of 10. After 3 boys, the Canton family was overjoyed to welcome a baby girl. Nidhi's heart was full until a tear in her artery wall.
I couldn't breathe. I felt my heart racing. I felt like something had been placed on my chest.
Ranjiv rushed his wife to the hospital.
There was a code blue. I think at one point we had 19 people surrounding her bed.
My kids need me. You know, I have to be home. I just had my baby girl finally. And I was very, very, very scared that we wouldn't be able to come back and see them.
Nidhi was diagnosed with SCAD, spontaneous coronary artery dissection.
I was shocked. I thought, no, not me. You know, I'm healthy. I'm young. We have no family history at all. So I was like, I'm sure I'm mistaken.
I think for us, what is unsettling is just the fact that it disproportionately affects young women and new mothers.
How rare is it? So it's quite rare. It was once thought to be so rare that it couldn't even be studied.
Dr. Ashley Hessen is the research director for the cardio obstetrics program at Michigan Medicine. She says 90% of SCAD cases occur in women.
There are a lot of hormone changes that affect your blood vessels in and around pregnancy. And she had other pregnancies that went totally fine. And that's the scary thing about this condition, but I don't want people to be worried. I want them to be empowered.
Symptoms of SCAD include chest pain, shortness of breath, cold sweats, nausea, extreme fatigue, dizziness, or fainting.
I almost became a statistic. Oh, she died young, or oh, she had this happen young. You know, I think it deserves a lot more research, a lot more just communication and guidance.
Nidhi is taking it slower these days. She's thankful to be back home with her family.
These boys have been exceptionally brave and very just tolerant and understanding, of everything. They've had so much of their lives disrupted.
Nidhi's doctor says it'll take about a year for her artery to heal. In the meantime, she's going to cardiac rehab 3 times a week and checking her blood pressure every day. She's sharing her story, hoping to help others. In Canton, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
And her husband, Rajiv, is also a state representative in the Michigan House. Last week, he introduced a resolution on the House floor to declare the 3rd week of February SCAD Awareness Week in Michigan, highlighting the need for more research to protect young and pregnant women. The resolution passed with bipartisan support. All right, we're going to take a short break here. More news, more weather, more Local 4 Live coming up at 9. All right, the next hour here on Local 4 Live, we're going from the White House to Lansing. President Trump delivering his State of the Union speech last night and honoring a Metro Detroit native, and Governor Whitmer giving her final State of the State address tonight, laying out some key education priorities. We're going to break all of that down, and it's time to go for it. All day, we're helping animals in need in our area. We want you to get involved. And then the story of how a 5-year-old boy found an error within Southwest Airlines.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Well, thanks for being here on your Wednesday. I'm Nick Monticelli. Our top story this morning takes us to Macomb County. That's where some communities are under a boil water advisory because of a water main break. This is happening at 24 Mile and Gratiot in Chesterfield Township. There is no boil water advisory in Chesterfield Township, but there is one for some people in New Haven and in Lenox Township. Our Shante Passmore is there.
Hey there, according to one of the communities affected by this water main break, there's still no ETA and when repairs will be done yet. But right now here in Chesterfield Township, you can see near Gratiot and 24 Mile Road, we have a crew out here with lights on and heavy machinery, including an excavator. We are told they are contractors. GLEWA reports it's investigating a leak on a 36-inch water transmission main after a utility contractor struck it Tuesday. And at last check, it says GLEWA contractors are preparing to isolate the main so that the site can be excavated and repairs can begin. Who does this affect? Well, right now, the village of New Haven has a boil water alert, Meanwhile, a boil water advisory is in effect for Lenox Township water customers on Gratiot Avenue that are north of 30 Mile Road. In Chesterfield Township, officials say there is no boil water advisory, citing it's not necessary. And back out here on scene, New Haven Community Schools is also reporting that the district is closed today after several buildings don't have access to water. In Chesterfield Township, Shantae Passmore, Local 4.
All right, Shantae, thank you. Also in Macomb County, a deadly crash is under investigation. This is video from the scene about 5 o'clock this morning in the westbound lanes of I-94 near 9 Mile. You can see right there a car was up the embankment on the freeway. The lanes now have reopened. We are working to learn more about what happened and who that victim is. A Pontiac mother accused of leaving her kids to live in filth will be in court today. Kelly Bryant's 15-year-old boy and 12 and 13-year-old girls were found living on their own in a townhome in February of 2025. Police say the home was filled with garbage and human waste and say the kids hadn't seen their mother in years. In December, Bryant pleaded no contest to accusations of stealing almost $30,000 worth of benefits meant for the kids. Let's get to the White House now, where President Trump is back at work following his State of the Union address last night. The president declared America is back, listing his achievements in his first year. As Tracy Wilkins reports, all of this comes in the face of falling approval ratings and the president losing ground on key policies.
It was the longest State of the Union speech ever, beating the record that President Trump previously set. He clearly delivered the message that he hopes Republicans will spread as the midterms grow closer. But in their response, Democrats challenged the president's reality with what recent polls show Americans are feeling. As President Trump addressed members of Congress for the second year of his second term.
Our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before.
Divisions between the two parties were evident, especially on issues like the state of the economy.
They caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem. You caused that problem.
The president boasted a stronger economy, one of the many issues more than half of Americans believe he's failing on, according to recent polling. Trump also made his case on his tariffs in front of the Supreme Court justices who recently ruled limiting his ability to levy them.
But the good news is that almost all countries and corporations want to keep the deal that they already made.
The president touted ending wars while promising he will not allow Iran to pursue a nuclear weapon.
I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon.
Several Democrats boycotted the speech, while some who were there at times shouted in protest, especially apparent when the president accused Democrats of supporting sanctuary cities and not his immigration policies.
They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
It was a point Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger addressed in the Democratic response.
Our president has sent poorly trained federal agents into our cities, where they have arrested and detained American citizens and people who aspire to be Americans, and they have done it without a warrant.
Spanberger also countered questioning if Americans are the ones who are benefiting most from the president's policies.
The scale of the corruption is unprecedented.
With so much division on display between the parties, there was a moment when both sides of the aisle agreed and Democrats applauded. And that's when the president called for the passage of a bill to end insider stock trading by members of Congress. In Washington, I'm Tracy Wilkins, NBC News.
Tracy, thank you. The Team USA men's hockey team was also at the State of the Union last night, where President Trump announced a huge honor for goalie Connor Hellebuck, a Commerce Township native.
I just want to tell you that the members of this great hockey squad will be very happy to hear, based on their vote and my vote, and in this case my vote was more important, that I will soon be presenting Connor with our highest civilian honor, which we will be given and which has been given to many athletes over the years. But when I say many, not too many, like 12, it's called the highest civilian honor in our country, the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Now, the president says he talked to the team about giving Hellebuck that honor during a visit in the Oval Office and Everyone agreed he deserved it. Trump also said he plans to have the women's ice hockey team visit the White House as well. All right, now we're going to go to Lansing, where tonight it's Governor Whitmer's turn to speak to Michiganders. She'll be delivering her final State of the State speech. Lawmakers will pack the Capitol as she lays out her last agenda. Plenty of topics will be on the table for what she wants to achieve this year, including creating jobs, lowering costs, and investing in education. In the last hour, I talked to Jordan Hermany, the Capitol reporter for Bridge, Michigan. Give us some high-level insight here. What do you think she'll be talking about in terms of what she wants to accomplish?
Yeah, so with this being her eighth and final State of the State address, first and foremost, what we can expect is somewhat of a victory lap, this being the final address that Governor Whitmer will give to a House and Senate that will be located in the House chambers tonight at 7. But of course, we still have a full legislative year to go. So there will be 3 policies that we know for a fact that Whitmer will be mentioning as part of her address. Those will touch on literacy, housing, and healthcare. All of which the governor has highlighted in her most recently unveiled $88 billion state budget as major priorities for the state for the remainder of this year.
Right. So when you look at those 3 topics, literacy, healthcare, and of course housing, you look at the budget, you try to figure out what specifically can be accomplished, especially when you've got more Republican control. Do you think that there will be some movement in the next year, or do you think this is essentially a lame duck session now?
No, honestly, I think that where Whitmer is keying in, particularly on the topic of literacy and housing, we are seeing bipartisan support in both the House and Senate for moving these kinds of items. So I'll give an example, on literacy, she's pitching $625 million worth of spending through her budget for programs including literacy coaches, teacher training, high impact tutoring. These are all things that we're not just hearing people in the legislature say, but, gubernatorial candidates who are running to replace her later this year. Again, housing, another hot issue. We heard the president last night talk about affordability or, the affordability issues that we are seeing on the ground level in Michigan. And housing, chief among them, is a big place where Republicans and Democrats are coming together to say we have to figure out a way to make it more efficient and less expensive to build homes in Michigan for middle to lower income families in order to, start their lives.
Right. One of the things that she ran on when she was first trying to get into the governor's seat was fixing the damn roads. Do you anticipate any of that will be a topic of discussion, whether she claims it as a victory or says there's still more work to be done?
I would be surprised if this was not mentioned as part of her final address. But, we look to last year, we had a $2 billion road repair plan that the House and the governor had been pushing for. The Senate as well had come on at the end there. And basically, we did see one of the biggest investments that we have seen in roads in a while. It would shock me if there was not some level of a victory lap there. We personally tallied the State of the State promises she made as part of her 2025 address. And she either made fully or partially good on 10 of the 14 of those, among of which was fixing, as she calls it, the damn roads.
I like your attribution there, just in case. In terms of the rest of a victory lap, what do you think she'll be touting as things that she accomplished while in office?
That remains to be seen. But, like I said, taking laps on things that she had mentioned last year, it wouldn't surprise me if, for instance, one of the big things that she had mentioned was like banning cell phones in schools. Just recently, actually earlier this month, the governor did sign into law a smartphone ban that removes from, class periods. Kids aren't allowed to have those phones on them. They can keep them in their locker or keep what some are referring to as a dumb phone that's only capable of sending texts and not necessarily accessing the internet. So I would also imagine that she would tout on, as we're talking about literacy, last year we were able to see through the state budget process raising the per pupil spending to over $10,000 per student, or expanding GSRP programs, that's the Great Start Readiness programs, providing free breakfast and lunch for Michigan students. I would be surprised if those weren't mentioned at some point in her address as well.
Yeah. It seems like education has certainly become maybe the #1 talking point for the governor over the past year or so. Do you think that there are any specifics in this address or in the budget that she put forward that are actually attainable in the next 6 to 8 months?
Again, I go back to the concept of literacy supports. While the $625 million proposal that she is pitching, which again covers a number of things, including literacy coaches, teacher training, etc. I would be surprised if we did not see some level of bipartisan movement, but this is also a give and take. So I am aware of the fact that she's also pitching about $800 million worth of quote unquote sin taxes on things like vaping and gambling, which the Michigan House Speaker has already said he will not entertain. He believes that we can consolidate our budget without raising taxes. But, you know, the budget game is you win some, you lose some. So if the House is firm on the fact of not raising taxes, will her literacy proposals be implemented as asked for in the state budget? That remains to be seen. But, you know, it's very early in the year, and the horse trading has yet to begin.
You know, I highly doubt that anybody would get up there and talk about their misses or things they wanted to achieve but didn't get there. Do you think, though, that there is a list that she keeps personally that says, I wish we could have got to this in my terms in office?
You know, I think one of them being as part of that sin tax, Governor Whitmer for years has really led the charge on wanting to firmly crack down on vaping products in Michigan as part of an anti-smoking campaign. She had, if you remember back in 20, I believe it was 19, tried to institute emergency rules to ban certain flavored vapes. That did not end up going in her favor. In the last budget proposal, she also suggested banning flavored vape products or vaping products that were not FDA approved. That was also DOA. Current House Speaker Matt Hall said that very quickly following her State of the State address that he would not entertain that. That came back again in this current $88 billion executive budget proposal, which I don't necessarily see that moving forward, despite it being a clear want for the governor.
Yeah. Okay, Jordan Hermany, the Capitol reporter of Bridge, Michigan, thank you much for your insight and everything you can do. And we're going to talk to you again tomorrow morning to get your thoughts after we actually hear the State of the State address. And again, that final State of the State speech happening at 7 o'clock tonight. You can watch it right here on Local 4, Local 4 Plus, and on clickondetroit.com. All right, it's time to go for it. Today we are at the Michigan Animal Rescue League in Pontiac. We started collecting pet supplies about 3 hours ago, almost a little more than that too. Well, it was 6 o'clock this morning we started. So we will keep collecting donations until 6 o'clock tonight. Here's Eric Erickson with how those donations are helping.
They're a different breed of shelter, and they need our help.
She's a very sweet girl.
It's time to stock the shelves at Michigan Animal Rescue League in Pontiac.
Look at you, handsome boy.
What do they need? New pet supplies, whatever you can give, like blankets, toys, and of course, dog and cat food.
With kitten season coming up, we get a lot of young kittens who really depend on that.
The shelter helping roughly 1,500 animals per year, giving them medical treatment, exercise, and socialization. Your donations going to animals like Cheeto, Lil Bean, and Chip, enjoying the cage-free cat room.
She's incredibly sweet.
Along with Daphne and Irving. And these husky mix pups and their mother, rescued from a garbage can in Detroit.
We immediately took action. Got them in our care. The mom was severely underweight and stuff. They were only 3 weeks old.
We're asking for your donations, food, pet supplies.
Erica, thank you much. So we are going to be live out there until 6 o'clock again at the Michigan Animal Rescue League in Pontiac over on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard North. And you can also go to our website, clickondetroit.com, for a list of supplies or to make a donation directly without actually going to the shelter. Still ahead, calls for a school board member in Wayne County to resign after a controversial social media post. And you probably woke up to find some snow on your car or on the driveway or on the sidewalks around your place. Are there some more chances for snow? Ashley has your forecast coming up. Welcome back. Community members packing the Wyandotte School Board meeting yesterday, speaking out about a Facebook post that many call Islamophobic and hateful. Board trustee Cindy Kinney was seen commenting on a post comparing Muslim people to dogs. Many say her response looked like support, but as Local 4's Noel Friel shows us, Kinney was nowhere to be found at last night's meeting.
6 members out of the 7-member Wyandotte School Board are calling for one of their own to resign after a board member's comment on a social media post sparked outrage. The post is being condemned as racist and dehumanizing, and community members say they want immediate accountability.
Coming from any individual, this sentiment would be disgusting. But from a school board member, this stance is all the more hurtful and disturbing, and many constituents of this board feel betrayal.
Wyandotte residents packed a special meeting called to address a comment posted by board member Cindy Kinney. The post, which we won't show due to its offensive content, compared Muslims to dogs, quickly sparking backlash and prompting a response from the entire board.
However, when mistakes like this happen, they are unacceptable, and accountability should be taken. Sadly, it was not taken soon enough.
Kinney was not present at the meeting, telling Local 4 she had a pre-planned vacation. She released a statement which was read at the meeting by another board member. It said in part, quote, "I want to be clear that I respect people of all faiths and backgrounds. It was never my intention to offend, marginalize, or diminish anyone in our community. I understand why many were upset, and I am truly sorry." Despite the apology, all 6 other board members called for her resignation, passing a resolution condemning the post and reaffirming that Kinney's comments don't reflect the opinions of the board.
Regarding the apology that was read tonight, an apology that focuses on those who are offended, rather than taking full ownership of the bigotry expressed, is not accountability.
Community members we spoke to feel the only way forward is for Kinney to step down.
I hope to see her in the future at future board meetings. If she decides to stay on, I would love to hear her resignation in person.
An apology is great. Thank you for apologizing. But as all of the board members also said, a resignation is a lot better than an apology.
We have Kinney's full statement and the school board's full response to this over at clickondetroit.com. Noel Friel, Local 4.
All right, warmer weather and snow all coming up in Ashley's full forecast. And then you're going to want to stick around for an amazing shot that we captured from the International Space Station this morning. We'll show that to you coming up. Welcome back, everybody. Please, if you have a moment, take a look at your screens right now. Check out this time-lapse video. This morning, when we were talking about 6 planets aligning in the night sky, we got this lovely scene of the sun rising over the International Space Station. You can see the curve of the Earth there as the sun brings the ISS into light. This comes from one of the cameras that sits on the International Space Station. NASA streams that every single day. So if you want to, you can log in and look for yourself. Wow, what a spectacular scene. All right, let's get to Ashley's forecast, which has a spectacular day in there as well. Hey, Ash.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Well, here are 3 takeaways with your weather story as we are rounding out the work week. We will have wind gusts today that could peak close to 30 miles per hour. That'll make for another brisk day, much like yesterday. Those winds definitely were felt, and it put that chill in the air. Few flurries can't be ruled out as the rest of the morning and early afternoon rolls on, but that's mainly going to be to our north, very much scattered and isolated compared to the overnight snow that was a bit more widespread and blanketed the area with a fresh coating. But we do have a warmer weekend ahead, at least the first half of the weekend. Your Friday, Saturday will be above average, and then the bottom will fall out. So let's get you prepared for the rest of the day. 35 will be the high today, but we hit that late morning before we get to the lunch hour. Then we gradually fall. It's not going to be a sharp decline, but we will get increasingly cooler throughout the day, mostly cloudy skies. Then we're pairing that with winds that are picking up. So as those wind gusts are between 25, 30 miles per hour, regardless of the direction, that's going to put a chill in the air. And those chills will pretty much be, I would say, low 20s to teens throughout much of the day, and then falling into the single digits heading into the evening. So take that into account if you're heading to the Pistons game this evening. It's a 7:30 tip-off against the Thunder. We'll be in the upper 20s as you are grabbing a bite to eat downtown and maybe walking to the car after the game, 23 degrees. But this is going to feel like low double digits to single digits with the wind chill, and we'll be holding on to partly to mostly cloudy skies. So the temperature set up for today, let's kind of dive into this a bit deeper across the country. So we have a ridge of high pressure that's keeping temperatures well above average for the western half of the country. So if you have travel plans today and taking you out west, you're going to feel the warmth. But for our snowbird friends down in Florida, well, those below average temperatures continue for this portion of the country, Florida all the way up the eastern seaboard. Now, how does that change come tomorrow? Well, southern Florida will be dealing with the below average conditions along with the Great Lakes. So snowbirds not quite catching a break over the next 48 hours, but we will see a shift in the temperatures across the country. Those above average temperatures for the western part of the country will definitely start to trickle into the central U.S. and the Gulf states. Clouds and radar forecast over the next couple of days. And so we've been dealing with some off and on snow here, but our next snow chance probably not until, I would say, late Saturday. You see that we get brushed with the chance for some snow across the area, and then we'll have a possibly better chance of more of a wintry mix late Sunday into Monday. As of right now, model data keeping this just along the state line and pushing it down towards St. Louis, but we're still several days out. This lifts 50 to 100 miles, which isn't much when you're looking at the nation. That will bring us definitely some tricky weather to round out the weekend into the early part of next week. So I'm keeping some wintry precip in the forecast next week, but before we get there, let's not skip over the warmth on Friday. Flirting with 50 on a Friday paired with sunshine. So the warmest day of the next 7. Hopefully you can get outside and enjoy it before we have those few flakes that could fly Saturday. We're going to be cooling off below freezing Saturday night, and then we stay below freezing for highs come Sunday and Monday. That's your 7-day forecast.
Welcome back. A shelter in place is over for Americans visiting Mexico. The U.S. State Department issued that alert on Sunday when violence erupted after the killing of a drug lord. Many businesses and public transportation are returning to normal operations. Some airlines are adding extra flights to make up for all the cancellations earlier this week. Well, airlines also trying to catch up after a snowstorm. The chaos in Mexico canceled all of those delayed, and thousands of flights happened earlier in this week. Let's get a check of where things actually stand at DTW. Now, right now, there are just 3 flights canceled and 41 delays, which is much better than it was a few days ago. NASA is hitting pause on its next trip around the moon. This is a live look at the Kennedy Space Center now, where the agency just started to roll its massive 322-foot Space Launch System rocket back to the hangar for repairs. Engineers found a problem with the helium flow in the upper stage, and that needs some more work. That means the Artemis 2 mission, which will send 4 astronauts around the moon, will not launch in March. NASA says April is possible, but it all depends on those fixes. We're getting another check of your big local news headlines coming up, and we're also going for it. We're going to help animals in Metro Detroit by collecting pet supplies, which you can see the ones coming in right now. We'll take you live to our latest event coming up.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Welcome back to Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. Let's get you caught up on the headlines of today. Court picks back up in an hour in the Dale Warner murder trial. Jurors are hearing from more experts and former employees. Dale is accused of murdering his wife, Dee, in 2021. Her body was found inside of a tank welded shut on Dale's property. On Tuesday, a former employee testified Dale told him to move the tank because it needed to be cleaned up.
Did Dale tell you why he needed that tank moved?
I think he wanted to clean it up.
Is that what he told you?
I believe so.
The prosecutors also called AFBI, digital forensics, and experts, and a local fire chief to testify. The trial resumes at 10:30 this morning. The search continues soon for a missing Northern Michigan University student. Hundreds of volunteers have joined police in Marquette looking for 21-year-old Trenton Massey, who is from the Lansing area. He was last seen about 3 o'clock on Sunday morning. Surveillance video shows him walking along a bike path, and police say he appeared disoriented and was having trouble walking. Today, the focus will be on the water, searching for any signs that Massey may have fallen through the ice. Well, we are covering your communities and heading to Inkster right now. That's where one man is calling for change. He says his neighborhood is almost unrecognizable because it's been overrun with trash, leaning utility poles, and debris. Take a look at this map. You can see the hot spots he's talking about a lot near Pine Street and Harriet Street and Beach Street. Local 4's Khalil Maycock spoke with the man about his concerns and reached out to the city.
The man I spoke to says seeing lots like this, where mattresses are thrown in them that also have trash, are not what he's used to seeing in this area when he grew up. He says the city needs to act fast, and people need to take more pride in the area they live in. A lot with trash is not far from another lot with trash.
First came out here, I originally came from Detroit, so this was amazing to me.
Milton Hunter says this Inkster is far from the paradise he grew up in. How would you describe this from when you first moved out here to now? What would you say is the difference?
There's no life.
Hunter says along with trash problems, some utility poles in the area are leaning and others are surrounded by tree limbs, something the driver of this truck, who didn't want to speak on camera, says leads to power outages.
If they do the preventative maintenance, then we won't have that problem at the end.
To find out what residents can do if they encounter these problems, I called the city. They said if anyone sees trash or problem areas, they can call the ordinance hotline or email them photos. They also mentioned DTE oversees the poles. A DTE spokesperson told me, there is no failure risk with slight leaning of the poles. Trees are trimmed around DTE energy equipment at the top of the pole, and anyone with concerns can contact them. Hunter says he still wants officials to do more, and community members need to speak up.
In order for anything to change in the city of Inkster, the community has to be a part of the change.
And I did reach back out to the city to ask more questions about Hunter's concerns. They took my information. I'm still waiting to hear back. But Hunter says if people want to get more answers, they should go to city council meetings and speak in the public comment section. Reporting in Inkster, Cleo Maycock, Local 4.
All right, it is time again to go for it this morning. We are stocking the shelter in Pontiac at the Michigan Animal Rescue League over on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We are looking for you to donate any unopened bags of food for the dogs and cats. Again, that's for the area. Priya Mann is in Pontiac right now with a lot of cute ones. Hey, Priya.
Oh my God, cuteness overload. Nick, we're actually in the warehouse right now. Wanted to show you all of the donations that have been piling up, from food to brand new toys, kitty litter. We're getting everything. I'm here with Ted, who's a star volunteer. And Ted, who'd you got?
This is Rose.
Yeah.
She's a husky mix.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, she was rescued from a garbage can in Detroit shortly. So, and she's ready to be ready to go to her forever home.
And this is who we're collecting all the donations for. What does it mean to you to be a volunteer, see the difference you're making for these animals?
It's absolutely one of the most satisfying things to watch the animals come in, and so many of them, have medical needs.
Yeah.
They've been abused, they've been abandoned, and to help them get ready for their forever home, it's rewarding.
And while we've been out here in the warehouse, we've been seeing people drop off donations. They've been piling up.
We're so appreciative of it. It's so nice of folks. And every bag of food that comes in or toy is $1 we can spend on something else, like medical care and so forth. So it's really needed, and it's really appreciated.
Just look at that face. Oh, and beautiful eyes as well. I want to show you some of the donations if I come over here. So of course we've got the food and the kitty litter, but also, if I can, look at these toys here. So we've got brand new toys for dogs and cats. Of course, tennis balls, you can't go wrong. And look at this. Pepperoni, and of course we've got kitty litter, cat food, dog food. We are here through 6 p.m. This is again at the Michigan Animal Rescue League here in Pontiac, 340 Martin Luther King Boulevard Jr. North in Pontiac. And if you can't make it down today, there's also a QR code on your screen. You can send in monetary donations, more than $1,600 so far.
That's great. Keep it coming.
Keep it coming. And again, all of that money is going to help amazing animals just like Rose over here.
Rose and her buddies really appreciate it.
There you go. You heard it from Ted. So again, if you can't make it out, please scan that QR code. Every little bit helps. And of course, this is why we're doing it, Nick.
All right, Priya, thank you so much. A kindergartner with a love for flying and attention to detail that turned heads at a major airline. How one small discovery led to a big invitation. Well, you see pilots and flight attendants sharing their love of aviation with kids all the time, but it's not often you see a 5-year-old boy pointing out a mistake to the airline. Byron Reed introduces us to a preschooler from Colorado who improved Southwest Airlines training manual.
You're on the tips of the wings.
Traveling by plane takes you on a journey.
Because they get you from place to place a lot faster than a car does.
For 5-year-old William Hines,
I love flying.
it's a mode of transportation that hits home.
I don't have to walk 7,000 miles.
William is a pre-kindergarten student at Campbell Early Learning Center with a passion for flight.
That shows them how many degrees the engine is.
He's very mechanically inclined, and so I suppose it was a natural progression to want to know about more fascinating things.
Amber Hines is William's mom. She says his passion took off thanks to a connection with the Southwest Airlines pilot who brought William a company training manual.
And sat with him for 2 hours going over the charts and just talking shop with him.
But William noticed something was a little off.
I discovered that 2 terrain monitors did not match. They did not match at all. That is closer up and that's farther up.
I had no idea that one of our friends had started a job with Southwest Airlines, but she said, "Can I pass these along to my manager?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, that's fine."
That's when the CEO of the airlines found out, then invited William and his family to Dallas for a VIP tour.
So we went down to headquarters. It was amazing. Everyone there was very, very welcoming, and we definitely had the tour of a lifetime.
I got to go in a simulator, and the simulator pilot was Chris, showing how close.
It's an experience this family will always remember.
That heats up the cockpit.
Because of William's attention to detail that might land him in a career he already loves.
Then I can support people to a place, like 140 people.
The simulator makes me so happy. We should point out Southwest Airlines says there's no factual error in the manual, just differing photos. Your forewarned weather forecast coming up next, which includes some snow, but a very nice warm-up. We're also going to go live to the East Coast to get a look at the efforts to clean up after that winter storm, dumping feet of snow on some major cities. Welcome back, everybody. A live look at Boston, where between 1 to 3 feet of snow buried communities during that week's blizzards. The worst of the storm was over by Monday evening, but hard-hit areas are still dealing with the aftermath and will be doing so for days to come. Here's Reed Binion.
We've got to be able to get snow cleared as quickly as possible so that we can get power restored.
Officials in the Northeast working feverishly to restore electricity in the aftermath of this week's historic bomb cyclone blizzard. Thousands in the region were still without power Tuesday, shivering amid freezing temperatures. The majority of those outages in Massachusetts, with a utility company official saying it could take days to get the lights back on for some.
It's a serious situation there, and that's why we don't need people on the road.
The Mid-Atlantic and New England digging out from extreme record-breaking snowfall, more than 2 feet in some states.
We're now turning from immediate response to recovery.
The massive storm snarled travel, making roads icy and treacherous, and affecting other modes of travel as well, including rail service. And there was a major impact on air travel, with more than 10,000 U.S. flights canceled from Sunday to Tuesday.
When were you supposed to go?
Sunday. Flights were canceled several times, actually. I was rebooked twice and ultimately canceled.
Tuesday alone saw more than 2,000 flight cancellations. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Now, forewarned weather with ExactTrack 4D.
Well, here are 3 takeaways with your weather story as we are rounding out the work week. We will have wind gusts today that could peak close to 30 miles per hour. That'll make for another brisk day, much like yesterday. Those winds definitely were felt, and it put that chill in the air. Few flurries can't be ruled out as the rest of the morning and early afternoon rolls on, but that's mainly going to be to our north, very much scattered and isolated compared to the overnight snow that was a bit more widespread and blanketed the area with a fresh coating. But we do have a warmer weekend ahead, at least the first half of the weekend. Your Friday, Saturday will be above average, and then the bottom will fall out. So let's get you prepared for the rest of the day. 35 will be the high today, but we hit that late morning before we get to the lunch hour. Then we gradually fall. It's not going to be a sharp decline, but we will get increasingly cooler throughout the day, mostly cloudy skies. Then we're pairing that with winds that are picking up. So as those wind gusts are between 25, 30 miles per hour, regardless of the direction, that's going to put a chill in the air. And those chills will pretty much be, I would say, low 20s to teens throughout much of the day, and then falling into the single digits heading into the evening. So take that into account if you're heading to the Pistons game this evening. It's a 7:30 tip-off against the Thunder. We'll be in the upper 20s as you are grabbing a bite to eat downtown and maybe walking to the car after the game, 23 degrees. But this is going to feel like low double digits to single digits with the wind chill, and we'll be holding on to partly to mostly cloudy skies. So the temperature set up for today, let's kind of dive into this a bit deeper across the country. So we have a ridge of high pressure that's keeping temperatures well above average for the western half of the country. So if you have travel plans today and taking you out west, you're going to feel the warmth. But for our snowbird friends down in Florida, well, those below average temperatures continue for this portion of the country, Florida, all the way up the eastern seaboard. Now, how does that change come tomorrow? Well, southern Florida will be dealing with the below average conditions along with the Great Lakes. So snowbirds not quite catching a break over the next 48 hours, but we will see a shift in the temperatures across the country. Those above average temperatures for the western part of the country will definitely start to trickle into the central U.S. and the Gulf states. Clouds and radar forecast over the next couple of days. And so we've been dealing with some off and on snow here, but our next snow chance probably not until, I would say, late Saturday. You see that we get brushed with the chance for some snow across the area, and then we'll have a possibly better chance of more of a wintry mix late Sunday into Monday. As of right now, model data keeping this just along the state line and pushing it down towards St. Louis, but we're still several days out. This lifts 50 to 100 miles, which isn't much when you're looking at the nation. That will bring us definitely some tricky weather to round out the weekend into the early part of next week. So I'm keeping some wintry precip in the forecast next week, but before we get there, let's not skip over the warmth on Friday. Flirting with 50 on a Friday paired with sunshine. So the warmest day of the next 7. Hopefully you can get outside and enjoy it before we have those few flakes that could fly Saturday. We're going to be cooling off below freezing Saturday night, and then we stay below freezing for highs come Sunday and Monday. That's your 7-day forecast.
It's a popular supplement to fight hair loss, but it can have a concerning effect on some patients. I'm Dr. Frank McGeorge. I'll explain who needs to be careful about using biotin and a good rule of thumb for any supplement that you take.
Well, biotin is one of the fastest growing nutrition supplements in the U.S. right now. It's often taken to help improve hair, skin, and nail health. But a new report is warning that the supplement can have a negative impact on some patients. So our Doc McGee is here to explain.
Because biotin is promoted to help with hair loss, many cancer patients are taking it. Some are telling their doctors, but some are not. And as one patient discovered, biotin can have an impact on their treatment.
Anna Malagoli walks with her head held high.
Those little things make you more confident.
She didn't realize how much her confidence was tied to her curly hair until she was diagnosed with breast cancer.
While it might seem like a little thing, your hair is very much a part of you.
But then chemotherapy took it from her.
You're like pulling out handfuls of hair. And it's, you know, it's devastating.
Determined to reverse her hair loss, Anna turned to popular over-the-counter supplements.
I was taking so much biotin, it's not even funny.
Then Anna's doctor noticed her blood work didn't match how she felt.
It can make the lab result incorrect.
Dr. Brittany Dalmage specializes in cancer dermatology at Ohio State and warns patients and doctors that biotin can interfere with lab results.
More than half the patients who come to see me with a problem related to hair loss are on a supplement that they've started on their own or at the advice of a physician.
Dalmage says biotin particularly affects lab results for prostate, thyroid, ovarian, and breast cancer patients.
I wasn't looking at how it could affect me specifically, and that's where you need a doctor.
Dr. Dalmage recommends a different treatment with similar hair growth benefits.
Typically, I recommend that patients consider using minoxidil. Minoxidil is actually an old blood pressure medicine from the 1970s.
Anna takes it regularly with great success.
I've not cut my hair once.
Regaining her long curls and confidence.
This is more like me.
Now, Dr. Dalmage says other hair loss treatments for cancer patients can include prescription pills, red light therapy, or plasma injections into the scalp, but she urges all patients to consult with their doctor about the best treatment for them and their specific disease. This is yet another example of why it really is important to let your doctor know what supplements you're taking. They can affect your health and other medications in ways that you might not expect, and they need to be factored into your overall health care. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Doc McGee. You should have seen the two of these looking. They were like, wow. Good to know this.
It's very, I mean, biotin is in everything.
It is in everything.
Yes.
How was your nail health?
It's great, actually.
Nail health great.
Don't lie here on live television.
It's not great. We always talk about how we need to stop getting our nails.
Yes, that is what we want to do. They're great when they're done.
Don't even look. Don't know close-ups right now.
We're going to be the what do we call ourselves? The naked nail ladies?
Naked nail girls. Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Live in the D, what do you got today?
So I am so excited because we are having a representative from the DSO on.
Oh.
They just announced their new season lineup. Plenty of amazing things that even if you're not really into the orchestra, things like, they do this every year. Home Alone.
Yes.
That is a good one. Harry Potter.
Yes.
The Beatles.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about the lineup for this year. I'm really excited. They're also bringing in some instruments.
Ooh.
Did you guys ever play an instrument?
You did.
I was a drummer.
You were a drummer?
Yes.
That does not surprise me at all.
What did you play?
The flute.
She's a flautist.
Ooh, a flautist.
Yes.
Little Kim DeJulia
flautist.
performance today?
Are you going to?
Yes, she is.
If you want hot cross buns, I've got you. No, I don't even think I
What
can
time
do
is
that
this segment happening at?
Tune in, Live in the D at 11 a.m.
11 a.m. Hot cross buns.
Hot cross
There you
buns.
go. And you know, Detroit has really become a hub for movie making,
Yes.
especially independent films. And we're
Yes.
going to have a movie director and two of his actors on the show that are starring in a movie called Can't Buy Loyalty. And it is getting streaming numbers that are rivaling anything that you see on the major streaming applications.
Except the show.
Right, that you can't
Doesn't
even
come close to
believe
these
the
numbers.
streaming numbers that we see on this show.
Yeah,
but that's a whole other, in a different ballpark.
We wouldn't even try to compare. Would
You wouldn't.
Fair. It
Why
wouldn't
would
be
you?
right.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be right.
Exactly.
I'm going to dwarf the other ones. Don't make them feel bad.
Yeah.
Tune in, Live in the D, 11 a.m.
Live in the D, 11
Were we getting the
a.m.?
rap signal?
Pretty
I thought
much.
you okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Also, go for it today. We'll
Yeah.
be talking with a representative from there. I believe it's Erica Erickson.
Cool.
Yep.
Is it Erica or is it Priya? It is Erica.
Okay, it's
yes.
Erica.
Priya has things to do, I guess.
I guess.
All right. Make it a great day, everybody. Live the D starts at 11 a.m. Tune in for Hot Cross Buns.
Today on Live in the D, it's American Heart Month.
Today we're focusing on heart murmurs and heart valve disease, conditions that can be easy to miss but serious if ignored. What are the warning signs and when you should see a doctor?
Plus, millions of Americans could see tax refunds that are much bigger than they expected this year. The reason may surprise you. Plus, the smart moves you'll want to make before the money even hits your account. All of that